Okay, digital applications, welcome back. I know we're starting this video late in the week, but I've been getting caught up on some things. I hope you all are doing well. And I'm liking what I'm seeing with the kind of final project that we did with Microsoft Word. Keep them coming. I know some of you still are working through that and turning it in. But that represents kind of the end of a unit. And from here, we're going to move forward into what is Microsoft PowerPoint. And we're going to do PowerPoint as we did, using the Office 365 version. And we're going to use this time to kind of explore the basics of that program. So, welcome to the PowerPoint unit. Okay, here we go. From digital applications, as we go into Office 365, I don't know how you're, getting into Office 365, but we've got PowerPoint available here. We've got PowerPoint available on this list. You want to make sure that you open up a blank presentation. You'll see that there are some pre-made themes. We'll explore that at a later date. But really what we want to do is we want to start with a new, fresh PowerPoint presentation. Okay, before we get started with anything else, we're going to go ahead and make a saved version of this. I'm going to click on Save a Copy. We're going to call this PowerPoint Activity 1. And I'm going to put .example at the end here, although you should put your initials. And I'm going to save that. Okay. So to begin with, I'm going to just kind of give a really kind of quick overview. You might notice that this looks a little different than the desktop version. It even looks a little bit different than Excel or Word. First off, the ribbon, it looks very thin and collapsed. Okay. Whereas with Excel and Word, I feel like it's a little bit thicker. You have more options that are taking up more space up at the top here. We have our tabs at the top. We have our ribbon, which changes if we select the different tabs. We do not, however, have what we have in the other programs, which are group names along the bottom. I think potentially there's just fewer options available for PowerPoint, and that kind of streamlines things a bit. But what I did notice is that there are these little dots that you will see occasionally, which give you more options. Maybe they're the less common features, but that's a little awkward because then we need to kind of go hunting for some of those options at a later date. Oh, simplified ribbon. Let's see what happens when I switch this off. I'm going to click OK. It says I need to refresh to go back to a classic ribbon style. And there we go. Okay, so that's interesting. This shows you that we can switch back and forth. And now I'm wondering if I had that option available with Excel and Word as well. So we can go back if we prefer this view. We can go through the more kind of expanded ribbon approach. Let's, just for sake of argument, just to kind of explore this different look, let's keep it in the simplified ribbon view and see how that changes our experience. Okay. So going on with PowerPoint, along the left-hand side here, this is called like the thumbnail, the list of thumbnails of our slides. These are previews of the slide, and they're kind of zoomed out so you can only see them very small. And when you have long presentations, this helps you kind of click through this out the different slides easy. On the right-hand side, we have the actual slide preview, or the actual slide view. This is where I actually make the changes to the slide. I add information, pictures, so on and so forth, and I customize what it will look like on an individual slide basis. Okay? You will notice, I've got to move my picture down here, We've got some options down here to open a notes pane, to change some views. I'm not going to bother with that right now, but let's see. Okay, so let's add a little bit of information here. We're going to go, to begin with, just some very simple information. We're going to type in my original presentation. The slide view breaks up slides into what are called placeholders. What we just filled was the title placeholder, okay? And we filled it with a title. You notice that a placeholder has some predefined formatting. So for example, this is 60-point font Calibri Light. It's black. This is very, very generic. We haven't applied any style yet, and we're going to get to that soon. But I didn't have to make this large for a title. Okay, down in the subtitle area, I'm going to click there, and I'm going to type work by, and I want you to put your student name, your first and last name instead of student name. I'm going to tap enter to go down to the next one. I'm going to type for digital applications. Okay, so once I'm done with my slide, I want to add a new slide. So we're going to go up here and we're going to click on the new slide button, which is what you're going to use very, very frequently in PowerPoint. You'll notice that in here, once I click on new slide, it forces me to choose from this list of different slide layouts. Okay, you're going to see that different things kind of affect these layouts in the future, but this is just kind of a very general way to to set up your information. We're going to go with a title and content and click add slide. Here I'm going to type a few concepts. Notice that when I'm doing titles, I'm paying attention to my title case. So titles should be capitalize each word, or they should be in all caps, depending on your own preferences. For this one, I'm going to use capitalize each word. All right, underneath I have what is typically going to be set up as a bulleted list. As I type, I'm going to type basic layout of PowerPoint. Check my spelling. .365. Enter. It automatically puts a new bullet there. I'm going to put entering new slides with layouts and applying basic design. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add one more slide here. This one is going to be a to content slide. Up at the top here, we are going to type methods of design. On the left-hand side, I'm going to type the design tab. Enter. When I want to demote a piece of text, I'm going to press the tab key and watch what happens as it makes it smaller. Okay, so this new text now belongs as like a subtext of the design tab. And we're going to put in select a pre-made theme and choose a variant. On the right hand side, I'm going to click and I'm going to type designer view, which is a cool thing that I've just discovered. We are going to put type organize information and then select from generated list. And we'll see what that means in just a second. Okay, so what I've just done is I've just very basically entered information I've kind of organized it into different layouts, by the way. If I want to change the layout, I can click on a slide, click this layout button, and I could change the layout if I needed to. Okay. I've organized my information into like bulleted points. Okay, that's pretty typical. Okay, but right now that it's just black and white and it's very blah, right? We need to add some spice to this. We need to make it look nice because PowerPoint is for building presentations, and a presentation should be attractive. Okay. All right. So the first method that we're going to look at is the Design tab. Over here in the Design tab, I'm going to click, over here we have a number of themes. If I click the More button, it expands, and I can see a list of pre-made Microsoft Office themes. Microsoft Office has built these for us to use freely to add style to our slides very quickly. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to click on Dividend. Looks nice. Okay. So here I can see once I click that, it doesn't just apply it to the slide I'm on. It applies it to my entire presentation, and it affects the color. It affects the layout. It affects the fonts, okay, and their sizes. So all of those things get changed with the theme. To the right of my themes, I also have what are called variants. There's usually only 4, okay, and this basically changes maybe the font style and the coloring. So I'm going to click on this green one here and see how that plays out on my different slides. Okay. Now, there is another method that is kind of cool and interesting and a little bit freaky, which is this designer view. Here, I'm going to click on Designer. It might actually already be open on your screen, but I'm going to open this up. When I open up this Designer, it's going to put a Designer kind of preview over here. Let me go and click on my very first slide. Okay, and what I can see here is that it's picking up on my text, the information, and it's giving me some different ways to design that tab. You know, I don't like that this is scrunched up at the bottom here. That looks really bad to me. Okay, so it's providing me some different ways that I can go ahead and I can apply with my designer view something that matches my theme and that looks a little different. So I'm going to go with this very top slide. I think that looks nice. And there we go. Work by student name for digital applications, my original presentation. Okay. So this is very cool. Click on slide 2 and I can see, you know, I've got this bulleted list that looks very plain. If I look at my designer view, I can see that it's incorporating, you may or may not know this is called Smart Art. This is also Smart Art. So these are different ways that they can lay out a list of information that might be, you know, more attractive, might fill up the slide a little bit better. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and click on, let's see, this one right here, okay, with the Smart Art and the orange kind of text boxes. Looks good. All right. Down here in my comparison slide, it looks like the designer preview is not having a good time to, you know, recommend something. So it's not always reliable. In which case I can go ahead and we're going to find a lot of different ways where you can make things yourself and not rely on the designer preview. But it's cool. All right. Just to wrap this up, something that I think makes it a little bit freaky but kind of cool. We're going to go ahead and we're going to insert a new, sorry, not insert. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put in a brand new slide, just title and content. Now let's just do it. Let's do a title slide here. And I'm going to type at the top here the word science. If I wait a little bit, and that's not doing it. All right, I'm going to show you in kind of our next preview the way that when you're originally setting something up, it'll look we'll see how this works. Okay.